I still remember the day certainty began slipping through my hands. Jerusalem felt different that week, crowded with restless anticipation. Pilgrims filled every road leading toward the temple courts. Their voices echoed through stone streets beneath Roman watchtowers. People spoke quietly about promises, prophecies, and long-awaited deliverance. But heaven had been silent for generations, or so we believed. Most people had stopped expecting anything extraordinary from God. They prayed, they waited, and life simply continued. I believed the same as everyone around me then. At the time, I was only a temple apprentice, young, inexperienced, and eager to impress respected religious teachers. My days revolved around scrolls, lessons, and sacred traditions. I spent countless hours memorizing words written centuries before. Those teachings shaped everything I believed about wisdom and truth. To me, wisdom belonged only to learned and aged men, men whose voices carried authority throughout Jerusalem and beyond. I never imagined that belief would soon be shattered, not by a scholar, not by a priest, not by a prophet, but by a boy no one expected to notice. That morning began like countless others inside the temple. Teachers debated scripture while students listened with careful attention. The scent of oil lamps lingered beneath ancient stone arches. Visitors moved steadily through the courts beneath the afternoon sun. Everything felt familiar, predictable, and comfortably unchanged. Then I noticed a young traveler standing nearby. At first, there seemed nothing remarkable about his appearance. He wore no costly garments or symbols of importance. No crowd followed him through the temple courts. No one announced his arrival or spoke his name. Yet something about him quietly drew my attention. He listened differently than anyone else gathered there. Every word seemed to matter deeply to him. His focus never wandered toward distractions surrounding the temple. Soon several teachers began noticing him as well. One invited him closer to join the discussion. The invitation seemed harmless, almost routine at first. Children occasionally asked questions while visiting Jerusalem during festivals. Nobody expected this conversation to become unforgettable. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever witnessed a moment that changed everything? A moment that stayed with you for years afterward? If this journey speaks to you, leave a like. It helps forgotten voices reach others willing to listen. Tell me below which part of this story moves you. And if these ancient paths fascinate you as well, join us and continue hearing voices history nearly forgot. There are still witnesses waiting to tell their stories. When I looked back, the discussion had already begun. One teacher presented a question from the sacred law, the kind that challenged even advanced students of Scripture. The boy listened carefully without showing the slightest hesitation. Then he answered with remarkable clarity and confidence. Several students exchanged confused glances around the gathering circle. The answer was simple, yet unexpectedly profound and precise. Another teacher quickly followed with an even harder question. This time, everyone expected the conversation to finally end. Instead, the boy answered again, calm and completely certain. That was when I realized something extraordinary was happening. The questions became harder, but the boy never hesitated. One scholar quoted a passage many students struggled to understand. It was designed to expose weakness and incomplete understanding. The boy listened quietly, then answered without visible effort. His words carried a confidence that felt strangely unsettling. Several teachers exchanged glances across the growing, gathering crowd. I had studied beneath those men for many years. They rarely agreed when discussing difficult matters of Scripture. Yet now they shared the very same expression: confusion mixed with fascination and growing disbelief. Another respected teacher stepped forward to challenge him publicly. His reputation extended far beyond the walls of Jerusalem. Students traveled great distances simply to hear him teach. If anyone could end this discussion, surely he could. The crowd fell silent as he presented another question. Everyone expected the boy to finally reach his limits. Instead, he answered with insight none of us expected. Then he asked a question of his own. Not arrogant, not disrespectful, simply impossible to ignore. The teacher paused longer than anyone anticipated. For a moment, he seemed uncertain how to respond. A strange tension settled over the temple courts. Part of me admired what I was witnessing. Another part desperately wanted my teachers to prevail. Everything I believed about wisdom was being challenged. The circle around the boy continued growing larger. Travelers stopped walking and gathered to listen closely. Temple servants paused their work to hear every word. Even priests slowed their steps near the discussion. Nobody wanted to miss what happened next. Soon, another teacher entered the conversation with confidence. He was known for interpreting difficult prophecies and traditions. His questions often sparked debates lasting many days. Yet the boy answered as though seeing beyond words, not merely understanding the text before him, but understanding the heart behind every teaching. Something deeper seemed guiding everything he said. The scholars no longer looked merely curious. Now they looked genuinely astonished by what they heard. Some leaned forward, afraid to miss a single word. Others searched desperately for flaws in his reasoning. Yet none appeared, no matter how closely they listened. The more he spoke, the quieter everyone became. I could hardly believe what I was witnessing. Everything familiar suddenly felt fragile and uncertain. Then, movement near the crowd caught my attention. Two anxious travelers were pushing through the listeners. Their faces revealed exhaustion, worry, and growing desperation. The woman searched every face she could see. The man followed closely, scanning the gathering crowd. They looked as though they had searched for days. Soon, they reached the center of the gathering. The woman finally saw the boy and stopped. Relief washed across her face almost instantly. Then relief gave way to confusion and frustration. The crowd slowly opened space around the family. Everyone sensed this moment carried unexpected significance. The woman spoke with concern only a mother understands. She asked why he had remained behind alone. And every person there waited for his answer. The boy looked at them calmly, without fear or hesitation. His expression remained peaceful, despite their obvious concern. There was no guilt in his eyes, no panic, no attempt to explain himself away. Only a certainty I had never witnessed before. Then he finally spoke, breaking the heavy silence. His voice was gentle, yet impossible to ignore. "Why were you searching for me?" he asked, calmly. The question itself seemed to surprise everyone listening. No child would normally answer his parents that way, yet nothing about his words felt disrespectful. Instead, they carried a strange and undeniable conviction. Then he spoke the words that changed everything. "Did you not know where I needed to be?" Every face around me remained completely still. "I must be in my Father's house." The words settled over the crowd like distant thunder. For a moment, nobody seemed able to respond. Even the teachers stood silently, absorbing what he said. Some appeared confused by the meaning behind those words. Others looked deeply unsettled by what they implied. I only knew that something inside me had changed. The certainty I carried into that day was gone. I had spent years studying wisdom from respected masters. Yet true wisdom appeared where nobody expected to find it. Not from an elder, surrounded by devoted students. Not from a celebrated scholar known throughout Jerusalem. But from a boy barely older than myself. A boy who spoke as though he knew God personally. Soon, the crowd slowly returned to its routines. Conversations resumed throughout the temple courts once again. The teachers left carrying questions they could not answer. The family departed, disappearing into the crowded city. But I remained standing there long afterward, trying to understand what I had truly witnessed. Years would pass before I heard his name again. But I never forgot that extraordinary afternoon. The silence, the questions, the astonishment written across every face surrounding him. Most of all, I remembered that impossible wisdom. The wisdom of a child nobody expected. History would remember his name in years to come. But I remember the day before the world noticed. The day certainty gave way to wonder. The day a boy astonished the temple teachers. And yet, that was only the beginning. Years later, another witness would stand beside a river. They would see something no crowd could explain. The sky itself would seem to open above them. And heaven would no longer remain silent. That witness carried a story unlike any other, a story that changed countless lives forever. And soon, you will hear what they saw. If this journey meant something to you today, subscribe and continue walking these ancient paths with us. There are still forgotten witnesses waiting to speak. Leave a like and help their stories endure. And comment, "I was there," if this story stayed with you.